Hello everyone, and welcome to the channel. Before we dive into today's story, we just wanted to take a quick second to say thank you all for watching. We truly appreciate your support. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. It's totally free, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest stories. Now, with all that said, let's jump straight into the story.
The rain hammered against the grimy windows of the McCarthy Hotel, each drop a tiny percussionist in the orchestra of dread building inside me. I hated this place. From the moment Paul, my fiancé, had announced his bright idea for a romantic getaway to this forgotten corner of the Poconos, a knot of unease had lodged itself in my stomach. "It'll be an adventure, Donna," he chirped, oblivious to the shivers crawling up my spine as we pulled into the hotel's overgrown driveway. The McCarthy looked like it belonged in a horror movie, its paint peeling, windows dark and vacant, and an unsettling silence hanging in the air. Now, standing in the dimly lit lobby, the air thick with the smell of mildew and something indefinably ancient, I wanted nothing more than to turn around and drive straight back to the city. The only light came from a flickering chandelier and a single dusty lamp on the reception desk, where a man with a pallid complexion and eyes that seemed to absorb all light, it was John, the night clerk, regarded us with unnerving stillness. "Room 313, he croaked, his voice like dry leaves crunching underfoot. He slid a key across the counter, the metal cold against my palm. "Enjoy your stay." I swallowed, my throat suddenly dry. Is there anything we should know about the hotel?" I asked, trying to sound nonchalant. John's lips stretched into a thin, unsettling smile. "Just the usual," he rasped. "Don't disturb the other guests. And try not to stay out too late." His cryptic words did nothing to ease my growing anxiety. Paul, ever the optimist, clapped me on the back. "Come on, Donna, let's see our room. I bet it's got character." Character it certainly had. The walk to the third floor was a journey through a sepia-toned nightmare. The narrow hallway was lined with portraits of stern-faced people I couldn't quite place, their eyes seeming to follow us as we passed. The carpet was threadbare, and each step echoed eerily in the oppressive silence. Room 313 was at the end of the hall. As Paul fumbled with the key, I noticed a small, tarnished plaque above the door. It read, "Isabel, 1928. The room itself was worse than I'd imagined. The air was heavy and stagnant, and the only light came from a single low-wattage bulb in a dusty lamp beside the bed. The furniture was old and mismatched, and the floral wallpaper was peeling from the walls, revealing patches of dark, ominous stains. "Charming, isn't it?" Paul said, trying to sound enthusiastic. "Don't worry, honey, we'll make the most of it." I forced a smile, but my heart was pounding. There was something deeply unsettling about this room, a sense of lingering sadness and something else, something darker. We unpacked in silence, the only sound the incessant drumming of the rain. As Paul went to explore the hotel bar, I decided to take a shower. Maybe the warm water would wash away the creeping dread. The bathroom was small and damp, with a rusty showerhead and a stained porcelain sink. As I turned on the water, a strange hissing sound filled the room, and the temperature fluctuated wildly between scalding hot and icy cold. Suddenly, a whisper seemed to brush against my ear, a faint, mournful sound that sent shivers down my spine. I strained to hear it again, but it was gone. After my shower, I felt slightly better, but the unease remained. I decided to do a little research on the hotel, hoping to find some information that might explain its unsettling atmosphere. I pulled out my laptop and searched for McCarthy Hotel history. The results were sparse, but one article caught my eye. It was a news report from 1928 about the mysterious disappearance of a young woman named Isabel McCarthy, who had vanished from the hotel without a trace. The article mentioned that Isabel had been staying in room 313. My blood ran cold. The plaque above the door. The whisper in the bathroom. It all seemed to point to one terrifying conclusion. Isabel McCarthy was still here. Just then, Paul returned, slightly tipsy and full of stories about the hotel's colorful history, gleaned from John the bartender. "Apparently," he slurred, "this place has been around for ages. Lots of famous people stayed here back in the day. And there's this local legend about a woman who disappeared from room 313. I cut him off, my voice trembling. "I know about Isabel McCarthy. I read about her online." Paul blinked, his drunken haze momentarily lifting. "So, you know about the ghost stories then?" "Ghost stories?" I repeated, my voice rising. "This isn't just a story, Paul. I felt something in the bathroom. I heard a whisper. I think she's still here." Paul laughed, but his eyes betrayed a hint of nervousness. "Come on, Donna, don't be ridiculous. It's just an old hotel. You're letting your imagination get the better of you. But I couldn't shake the feeling that we were not alone. As the night wore on, the strange occurrences escalated. The lights flickered sporadically, the shadows danced in the corners of the room, and the temperature dropped dramatically, even though the radiator was hissing. Around midnight, I woke up to a cold hand brushing my cheek. I gasped and sat up, my heart pounding. Paul was sound asleep beside me, but the air was thick with a chilling presence. "Isabel?" I whispered into the darkness. A faint, mournful sigh seemed to answer me, and a cold gust of wind swept through the room, extinguishing the bedside lamp. Panic seized me. I shook Paul awake, my voice trembling. "We have to get out of here. This place is haunted." He mumbled and rolled over, still half asleep. "Just a bad dream, Donna. Go back to sleep." But I couldn't sleep. I was convinced that Isabel was trying to communicate with me, to tell me something. I decided to try and contact her, to see if I could help her find peace. I sat up in bed and closed my eyes, focusing on Isabel's name. "Isabel," I whispered, "if you're here, please give me a sign. Tell me what you want." The air grew colder and a faint, ethereal glow filled the room. A ghostly figure began to materialize before me, a young woman with long, dark hair and sad, pleading eyes. "Help me," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "He's still here." "Who's still here?" I asked, my voice trembling. Her spectral finger pointed towards the door. "John," she breathed. My blood ran cold. John, the night clerk. The man with the pallid complexion and the eyes that absorbed all light. Suddenly, a wave of understanding washed over me. John hadn't just been a witness to Isabel's disappearance. He had been the cause of it. He had murdered her and hidden her body somewhere in the hotel. I grabbed Paul and shook him awake, my voice urgent. "We have to get out of here now. John killed Isabel." He stared at me, his eyes wide with disbelief. "Donna, you're scaring me. What are you talking about?" "I saw her, Paul," she told me. "John is the killer." As I spoke, a loud banging echoed from the hallway. Footsteps approached our door and a deep, menacing voice called out, "Room service." Paul's eyes widened in terror. He knew I wasn't imagining things anymore. We scrambled out of bed and barricaded the door with a dresser. John wouldn't get to us easily. "We have to call the police," I said, grabbing my phone. But there was no signal. The McCarthy Hotel had effectively cut us off from the outside world. We were trapped. John's relentless pounding continued, the wood of the door splintering with each blow. We had to escape. I remembered the window. It was our only chance. We threw open the window and peered into the darkness. The rain was still falling and the ground was a dizzying 3 stories below. "We can't jump," Paul said, his voice shaking. "We'll be killed." "We have no choice," I replied. "It's either that or face John." We climbed onto the windowsill, the wind whipping our hair and clothes. I took a deep breath and looked at Paul. "Ready?" He nodded, his face pale. We jumped. The fall was terrifying, a blur of rain and darkness. I landed hard on the muddy ground, my ankle twisting beneath me. Paul landed beside me, relatively unharmed. We scrambled to our feet and ran, the sound of John's enraged shouts echoing behind us. We didn't stop running until we reached the main road, where we flagged down a passing car. We told the police everything about the Eerie Hotel, the legend of Isabel McCarthy, and our terrifying encounter with John. They were skeptical at first, but my insistence and Paul's corroboration convinced them to investigate. The next day, the police raided the McCarthy Hotel. They found Isabel McCarthy's remains hidden in a secret room behind the hotel's kitchen. John was arrested and charged with murder. The McCarthy Hotel was shut down, its dark secrets finally exposed. As for me, I would never forget my stay in room 313. It was a reminder that some legends are more than just stories, and that sometimes the dead need our help to find justice. But the story doesn't end there. Months later, after the trial, I received a package. Inside was a worn, leather-bound diary. It was Isabel's. The diary detailed her life, her dreams, and her growing fear of John. The last entry, written the day she disappeared, revealed a shocking truth. Isabel was pregnant with John's child. Suddenly, everything clicked into place. John hadn't just wanted to silence Isabel. He had wanted to erase the evidence of his crime, the unborn child that would forever link him to her. I shuddered, realizing the depth of John's depravity. But then, I noticed something else in the diary. A hidden compartment containing a small, folded piece of paper. I unfolded it carefully. It was a photograph, faded with age, of a young woman strikingly similar to Isabel. On the back, a name was scrawled in elegant handwriting, Lisa McCarthy. My breath caught in my throat. Lisa McCarthy. The name sounded familiar. I racked my brain trying to remember where I had heard it before. And then it hit me. Lisa McCarthy was John's lawyer. The woman who had defended him in court, arguing for his innocence with unwavering conviction. A chilling realization washed over me. Lisa wasn't just John's lawyer. She was Isabel's sister. And she had known all along what John had done. But why? Why would she defend her sister's killer? The answer was simple and horrifying. Lisa hadn't been trying to exonerate John. She had been trying to protect him, to keep him alive. Because she needed him. She needed him to lead her to Isabel's hidden fortune. A vast inheritance that Isabel had been set to inherit before her death. John was the only one who knew where it was hidden. Lisa had played everyone, the police, the jury. She had used the trial as a smokescreen, a way to keep John close while she searched for the money. The thought sent a wave of nausea through me. I had been so focused on helping Isabel that I had completely overlooked the true villain of the story. Lisa McCarthy was still out there, free and potentially dangerous. And now that John was behind bars, she would be even more determined to find the money. I knew what I had to do. I had to stop her. My romantic getaway to the McCarthy was far from just a bad experience. I now consider that I was a pawn in a game of greed, deception, and murder.
Ready for spine-chilling tales that will haunt your thoughts? Subscribe to Forgotten Storyteller for eerie narrations, unsettling mysteries, and haunting stories you won't forget. Hit the bell icon so you never miss a story, because some stories refuse to stay buried. Join us, if you dare.